So everybody has a notebook out, and it's open, you have your pencil in your hand, notebook open. Aiden, please take out your notebook and open it up. All right, flipping to a page that you can write on. Aiden, notebook open. All right, and I want lots of participation today, okay? Even if your answer's wrong, that's good, because then we can figure out why it's wrong and how to get it right. Number 1 says, select all the statements about the line below that are true. There are 5 statements, and we're going to have to determine if they're true or false, and only select the ones that are true. The first one says, the x-intercept is -8. Jayla, what do you think? Is that true or false?
True.
True. Why? Yeah. So you can see right here, it says the x-intercept, so we were looking at the x-axis. The line is going through the x-axis at -8, so that is true. The next one says the line has a positive slope.
No.
And what makes you say that?
Or the negative direction.
It is?
No, it's positive. Because
It's going up
if you
that
stay
way.
on the x-axis, it goes up.
Yeah, we always read a slope from left to right, and if it's going up, it's positive.
Oh. I thought it was like the other way.
Yeah, I can see that. But we read a line from left to right, so if it's going upward, it means it's positive. It's reaching higher in the positive numbers on the y-axis. It's positive, so that's going to be true. The y-intercept is 4. Janice, what do you think? The y-intercept is 4. True or not true? Is that a true? Okay, why do you think it's true? Because you can see right there, right? On the y-axis, it intercepts at +4. So we're going to say true. The line has a negative slope. Oh yeah. I know you had a long weekend, but try to stay awake, okay? Kariana, what do you think? It says the line has a negative slope. True or false? You think it's true? Okay. What makes you think that it's true? Was it just a guess? Okay. Let's look back here at choice B. It says the line has a positive slope, and we said that was true. So the line has a negative slope. What would that have to be? False. Because a negative slope from left to right goes downward, like you're biking down a hill. So we're going to say that's false. And the last one is the domain is all real numbers. Gracie, what do you think? That is true. How do you know?
Because it just keeps on going. It doesn't like have a point on it.
What keeps on going? Which value is the
line.
x or the y?
Well, the X.
The x, very good. We're talking about, yeah, she's right. Both the x and the y go on forever, but this is specifically asking for the domain, which is the x values. And we know it's going forever towards positive infinity on the x and forever towards negative infinity on the y. So it is all real numbers. So that one was true also. But only D's. Okay. Now it says, select all statements that describe the graph of the equation x equals -2. In the previous question, it gave us the line on the graph. So it was very easy to see the slope. It was easy to see the intercepts. This one, they're just giving us an equation. So in order to answer these, what would be the best thing that we should do? Graph it. So let's graph it over here. It says x equals -2. It's weird, right? It's not in slope-intercept form. Can you take your head up, please? Thank you so much. We're going to keep our head up the whole class, okay? So it's not in slope-intercept form, but does it really have to be in order to graph this? No, it's giving us a very specific value for x. It's giving us a specific value for x. Yeah, it's a negative 2. So how can I show that x is negative 2 as a line? A lot of people have trouble with this, but yeah, go ahead.
X is negative 2, so that so it's just a line, a vertical line that all of the points are on the x value negative 2.
Very good.
It's just a vertical line that passes through negative
That's
2.
exactly right. X is negative 2, meaning x is negative 2 no matter what your y value is this way, no matter what your y value is this way, x is always negative 2. So you can take any point on this line, and Janice, when you find the coordinate pair for any of these points, your y will be all sorts of different numbers. Your x value will always be negative 2. I'll even show you. What about up here? We have negative 2 on the x, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y. What about down here? We have negative 2 on the x, and negative 2 on the y. Let's go down here. Negative 2 on the x, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 6 on the y. Do you see that every single point on that line is going to have the x value negative 2? And that's why it's a vertical line, which people get confused because when they see that x equals something, they think that it has to do with the x-axis in terms of, oh, it must be a horizontal line, but it's not. Because the x-axis is a horizontal line, that negative 2 has to stay vertical to always be hitting the negative 2 on the x-axis, or through the x-axis. Does that make sense? Now that we have it drawn, let's answer these questions. The range is all real numbers. Marianne, what? Sure. Marianne, the range is all real numbers. What do you think? And you can look at the graph. Were you following what we did on the graph there?
False, because it's not. Well, technically it wouldn't be true, but
Well, let me ask you a
Okay,
question.
because-
The range is what, x or y? Yeah,
okay, then it's true.
yeah,
But for if it was domain, would it be false? Because it's not.
yeah, we'll do both of those in one. So this is true. The domain is all real numbers. You're right, it would be false. What is the domain?
Negative 2.
The domain is only negative 2, right? Because we already said that for every point on that line, your x value can't be anything else except for negative 2. So it cannot be all real numbers. It can only be negative 2. Okay, let's look at B. The slope of the line is undefined. Dia, what do you think? True or false? The slope of the line is undefined. Well, I'd like you to explain either one of those statements with like why you would choose that. Are they guesses?
Isn't it true?
I mean, I put it as true.
Okay, then explain to me how it's true.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Straight,
what's that?
straight, it's not like going, like, it's not
All
going
all
forward.
lines on a graph.
It's not going at an angle.
True.
Because horizontal.
Yeah, and it's horizontal.
It's vertical.
Oh, yeah, vertical.
Okay.
If it was horizontal, it would be
Undefined,
zero.
like horizontal.
If it was horizontal, it would be 0, but if it's vertical, it's not undefined.
That's true. Remember how we talked about understanding the difference between undefined and a slope of 0. A slope that's undefined is like when you try to walk on the line and you simply can't, you'll just fall to your death, okay? I know, people don't like that, it's very gruesome, but it's true. If you try to walk a line that is straight up and down, you can't. So it's not defined because it's not possible, right? But a slope of 0 is simply walking on a horizontal line that doesn't go up or down. You still can walk it, it's possible to have a value. It just has a value of 0. Okay, so the slope is undefined is true.
So
C.
undefined is vertical, 0 is horizontal.
Correct. Choice C, the y-intercept of the line is -2, 0. Emily, what do you think? The y-intercept of the line is -2, 0. You think it's true? Do you want to show me where that line is intersecting the y-axis?
No, it's not true, so,
Okay, and tell me why it's not true.
because it doesn't go through.
Right? It never intercepts the y-axis, so it doesn't have a y-intercept. So this one would be false. Let's see. Bella, it says the x-intercept of the line is -2, 0. True or false?
False.
And what makes you say that?
Wouldn't it be that because,
What does an x-intercept mean? The line has to do what? Go through the middle, like the origin?
no,
The x-intercept.
it's go, not through the center, but like,
Through what?
I don't know what to call it,
Well, I'll give you a hint. There are two axes on a coordinate plane. There's the x-axis and the y-axis.
it's go through the X.
Correct. And what is the point where the line is going through the x-axis?
Wouldn't it be -2, 0?
Correct. So is it true or false?
True.
True. You got it. True. All right, it says, which statement describes these two graphs? I want you to look at the graphs, or the equations of those graphs. Tell me what you notice about them. Layla, tell me what you notice about those two equations. Or do you want to give me the answer? Because that's okay too.
I need the answer.
I will accept the answer and then an explanation of why. I guess I'm kind of going backwards and I want what you're noticing about it and what makes you get the conclusion.
I got
I-
an explanation.
That's awesome. Just wait until I ask someone.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, what did you want to share when you raised your hand?
Oh, well, because I thought I had the answer, but now I'm like,
Now you're second guessing yourself?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Cobb?
B,
And what makes you say that?
well, because, perpendicular is like straight up and down, right, like this.
Well,
Yeah.
wait, what?
No, perpendicular is this way, dog.
Perpendicular is where lines intersect at right angles.
So B is the right answer.
Well, you tell me. Do we need to graph? Do you think that we need
Where's
to?
parallel mean? Yeah, it's not gonna say parallel, my bad. My
Okay,
bad.
you meant to say parallel?
Yeah.
Now, did you graph those on a coordinate plane in order to find that? What about those graphs is the indication that it is parallel, that they are parallel?
Well, because it says like X, so it's like positive X, positive 6 on the X-axis, then it's positive 3. So it's like,
So the 6 and the 3 are the y-intercepts. You want to explain it?
I don't know, at least I got it right.
The negative what?
Both of them have negative x's.
Yeah, and what does that mean? If they both have negative x, Ava,
They have the same slope.
they have the same slope. Good. So we're making all of these connections here that we're noticing, and somebody was talking about the 3 and the 6. That's also really, really important. So once we notice that the slopes are the same, I really shouldn't be including the x when I say slope. The slope is -1 here. The slope is -1 here. If the slope is the same, does it guarantee that they're parallel? Almost. it's most likely that they're parallel, but what does why is the y-intercept also important? Why is comparing the y-intercepts also important? Tell me a situation where the slopes are the same, but they're not parallel. Tell me a situation where the slopes could be the same, but the lines aren't parallel. No, because then the slopes wouldn't be the same. Yeah.
Maybe it would be like they're both at the same y-intercept.
Yes. So what he's saying is, if the slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are the same, then they're not parallel, they are the same line, right? Now that was just a little trick question, but yes, the answer to this is same slope, different y-intercept, parallel lines.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
I was right.
Yeah, you just got not so confident when I started.
Because I was like, I didn't know how to describe it.
It's okay.
I knew they're parallel.
It's okay. The short answer to that question is the lines are parallel because they have the same slope and different y-intercepts. Okay, so which equation represents this graph? What's up? About those four answer choices, what do you notice about those answer choices that are all the same?
They both have a
They all
y-intercept of, they all have a y-intercept of -1.
That is correct. So that's really not going to be the one that determines which answer is correct, right? They all say that the y-intercept is -1, which is correct. So what do we have to determine in order to choose the correct answer?
The slope.
Yeah. And how do we find the slope?
You just, you find what's it called, a point, and go to the next one.
Yeah. So I'll pinpoint right here because that's a clean intersection there. And then how do you determine what the slope is if you have your 2 points? Yeah, the rise over run. So if I start here, do I want to go up? No, we're going down. And what does that mean for our rise?
Why do you have to?
That it's negative. So I have a -2 over what?
Why do you have to go down? Why couldn't you go up?
You could go up, but that would mean that I'm going to choose a point and then a point over here, and I will go up 2, which would be +2, and then I'll go to the left one, which would be a -1. The slopes will be exactly the same. -2 over +1 equals -2. +2 over -1 equals -2. So whether you go forwards or backwards, it will be the same slope, but you just make sure if you do go backwards, that you are reading those negatives and positives correct. Okay, yes?
Isn't also the lines going down? So it's negative? Because the way you're going.
Yes, we would automatically know that it would be a negative, but just in terms of these, like you would have to make sure that your rise over run numbers are correct, because this is negative, but it's the opposite. They did run over rise for some reason, so it's choice. Yeah. Can you wait until the very end? I think I'm gonna get through this pretty quickly, so I'll give you guys some time at the end, okay? Alex made a table to record how many trees were in his yard for each day that the landscapers were working. Apparently Alex lives on quite a large property, because look at all the trees he ends up with. How many trees does he end up with? 23 trees. After day 5, they're planting lots of trees, right? I don't have 23 trees in my yard, I've got like 2. Which equation represents the data? So we have a table, an XY table. Those are also coordinate pairs, like the first coordinate pair would be 1, 7. The second coordinate pair would be what, Janice? 2, 11. The third coordinate pair would be what, Kariana? 3, 15, very good. And the fourth coordinate pair would be what, Dia? 5, 23, very good. So we have our coordinate pairs, and we want to make an equation that represents that data. What form do we like to put that kind of thing What? I'm out on the picture. What form would we like to put this equation in? I'll give you a hint. All of the answer choices are in that form. Yep, slope-intercept form. So if we need slope-intercept form, we need the slope and the intercept. Good. So we need y equals mx plus b. We need our slope and we need our y-intercept. And then which one are we able to find out first based on our table there?
This.
Yeah, we're gonna get our slope first. Now Jacob, tell me how we could get us our slope using those numbers there.
Well, you said slope?
Yeah, how do we get our slope using the table? What does slope mean? You can give me the slope formula, or you can give me like what it means, yeah?
Him?
No, you.
Oh, you said, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, no, what were you asking? No, what?
How do you figure out the slope by these numbers? We have x values and
y2 minus y1
Uh-huh.
and x2 minus x1
good.
over x2 minus.
Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is a fancy way of saying how does the y values change compared with the x values changing. So you're just gonna pick 2 points and saying, what's the difference of the y values? What is it?
3, 4,
4. And what's the difference of our x values? 1. So our slope is 4. So we have y equals 4x plus b. The reason why I didn't say, well, what's b then, is because we need to rewrite this in order to solve for b. I have 3 variables, a y, an x, and a b. What am I trying to solve for?
Does it automatically give us that answer though? Like, 'cause there's nothing else with 4x.
Yes, it does automatically give us the answer with just our slope. I love that. It's very uncommon to get a test question that allows you to figure it out that easy. So just for fun, because it is so much fun, tell me how I could solve for b even though I already have 2 other variables. Plug in any of our points for x and y. Should we just plug in the easiest ones, the lowest numbers? And we'll plug in 7 for y and 1 for x. So we have 4 times 1 plus b. 7 equals 4 plus b. What does b equal?
1.
3. So our slope's 4, y-intercept is 3. Now we are guaranteed that that answer is correct, right?
Is it A, right?
It is.
I didn't do any of that, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, wish this wasn't so wide. Okay, Andrea collected data for a school project, but accidentally spilled her coffee on her page. Oh no, her coffee spilled on this and she couldn't remember what number that y value was. She knows that the values, excuse me. She knows that the values represented a linear function, which means there's a certain pattern going on. There's a certain rule that they are all following. What is going on outside that is so? All I see is garbage cans. What's so distracting about the garbage can? Did somebody walk by? Let's make this quick. I don't want to dwell on this. What was going on that was so exciting to look at?
They just like
Yeah.
just like looking at themselves.
Can you focus on this? Okay. All right, so It says it's a linear function, which means there is a pattern, everything has a line, and a line has a slope, unless it's undefined, but obviously we have a relationship between x and y, so we are gonna have a slope. So it says, what is the value of y when x equals 0? So first, let's go ahead and get our, you said it. You said it, yeah. Slope, yeah. So we have y equals mx plus b. We have to find our slope. What is that? How do we do that?
Put the y.
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and we're just looking for the difference. Now, if you choose 4, 5, and 6, and 5.5, you are going to get a difference in your y values of 0.5. It's going to make your slope a little tricky. 0.5 over what? Over 2. The difference between these two numbers is 0.5. The difference between these two numbers. Oh, okay. So that would be 2. Now, what slope would that actually be? What's 0.5 over 2?
4.
Wait, no.
Dang.
It's 1.
If you want to pop it into your calculator, you can do 0.5 divided by 2.
Divided by 0.
Nobody's gonna do it?
Wait, I know the answer.
What is it?
The slope is 4.
So I said.
No, the slope is, sorry. The slope is 1/4.
The slope is 1/4, that's correct. If you were to divide 0.5 by 2, you'll get 0.25, which is 1/4. And we like our slopes in fraction form because we just do. Although sometimes they're not, but 0.25 or 1/4 is correct. The other way you can look at it is to get 0.5 to equal a whole, you just have to multiply it times 2, right? A half times 2 is a whole. And then you multiply your denominator by 2 and you get 4. So your slope is 1/4. The other way you could do it, in order to avoid the decimal altogether, you could choose this point and find the difference of these. Your y value difference would be 2 over, what would be the difference of these? Negative 4 and 4, what's the difference?
The difference of that, it's
8.
8, very good. And 2/8 equals 1/4. So any way you do it, you're gonna get a slope of 1/4, so we have y equals 1/4 times x plus b.
I just accidentally said 4 because that's why I put it in place of the question.
It's okay, you don't have to explain it. All right, so now that I have this, and I want to find out what it is when x equals 0, what do I still need to find?
The y-intercept.
Yeah, my y-intercept. So how do I find my y-intercept?
Oh, you gotta put 3 in for y,
Okay,
and then you have to put it in for x, right? Yeah.
uh-huh.
And so 3 times 1 over 4.
You say 3 times 1 over 4?
Yeah.
3 equals 1/4 times what? What's our x value?
Oh, x, my bad. Negative 4.
Negative 4, so I'm just gonna put negative 4 over 1 plus b. Okay,
And then you gotta multiply them. So 1 over 4 times.
1 over 4 times negative 4 over 1 is what? Cancel out your 4s, and now what am I left with?
1 over 1. So 1.
Negative 1 plus b equals 3
And then minus plus 1.
plus 1
That's 1.
plus 1.
And then b equals 4.
Okay, so if b equals 4, and then I have y equals 1/4 times x plus 4. Now how can I solve for my y value if x is 0. What?
You can multiply 0 by 1/4 and then add 4 to it.
Yeah, we're gonna plug 0 into our x value. Y equals 1/4 times 0 plus 4. That cancels this out, and we get y equals 4. Everybody good? Bella, you should be taking notes on this one. Notebook open. Okay, what is this? What is the equation in slope-intercept form? We had a lesson on this. We had a lot of homework questions on this. What is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that is a slope of -1/2 and passes through the point -2, 7? Can anybody tell me how you can get the answer to that question without doing anything? Aaliyah, wake up. Okay, good. Then pay attention. Kariana, wake up. Can anybody? I'm gonna be honest with you. I was doing this with my other class, and I was working it all out, and somebody said, well, can't you just pick this answer because of this? And I was like, oh yeah.
And you're the only one that would know.
D.
What?
D.
What makes you say that?
It's the only one point in the slope-intercept.
Yeah. So if you notice, it says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form of this? Is that in slope-intercept form? No. Is that? No. Is that? No. Is this? Yep. But I'll go through really quickly how to find it, just in case you ever get a problem that has all of them in slope-intercept form, or more than one. So, it has a slope. Y equals -1/2 x, passes through the point, and then plus b, and it passes through the point -2, 7. What do we do?
Add the coordinate for the y and x values.
Say it again.
Put those y.
Plug them in. Plug them in for x and y, and we get 7 equals -1/2 times -2 for x plus b. Solve, and you get a negative times a negative is a
Positive.
positive. Cancel out the 2's, and you get
1.
1 plus b equals 7.
1
I also made a mistake early on where I thought this canceled out completely, and I just put b equals 7, and that was a mistake because this cancels out to 1, and that's an important value. It didn't cancel out to 0. 1 plus b is 7, so what's b?
6.
6. So 6 is b, and then we're just going to double check there, and that's correct. Okay, I will give you guys bathroom break in just a second because I just have one more question that I want to do. What is the slope of this equation? What's the problem with this equation?
X and Y.
2 variables.
There are always 2 variables in an equation of a line, x and y. Well, not always, because like if you have a vertical line, I'll just say like x equals -2. But there are usually 2 variables. There's nothing wrong with that. J9, what do you think? What should we do to this that will help us see the slope? Janice, is there a form of an equation of a line that helps us see the slope? Is there a certain type of form? You don't know? Natalie, what do you think? Is it?
Oh,
You don't know?
I know.
Okay. Yes.
So couldn't you just divide 2? You divide 4 by 2 and 6 by 2?
Well, hold on. What are you trying to do when you do that? Are you trying to get it into a certain form?
No. I just did. I just thought. Is that correct?
Does anybody feel like if we used a certain form of the equation, then it would be easier to see the slope? Is there a certain form of the linear equation? I don't know, it might even be in the title of the form that allows you to
Form.
slope intercept form. If we take this, which is in standard form, ew, standard form, yucky. We want to turn that into slope intercept form. We would do y equals mx plus b. But we have to rearrange everything. This is solved for y. So we have to solve this for y. And it's gonna look really tricky. 4x minus 6y equals 2. How do we solve for y? We have to do a couple of things.
I'll multiply 4 times 0, like plug it 0 for x. To just
Not yet. All we're gonna do is solve for y. We can't plug in anything for x right now. Kariana, wake up. Yes. Not yet, because even though the y is being multiplied times negative 6, something else is being added to it, and we have to go backwards order of operations. Minus 4x on both sides. Now pay close attention to this. Cancels out and we get negative 6y equals, I have a positive 2 and then negative 4x. Does it matter which one of these terms I write first?
No.
It doesn't?
Well,
That's
yeah,
right.
actually it does.
I don't know.
The answer is yes and no. I could write them in either order and it would be correct, but I do want to get it into slope intercept form, so which one should I do first? The x term, because that's my slope. Negative, or that's what will end up being my slope, negative 4x plus 2. If anybody packs up before I release you, you will stay after. Okay, so am I done?
Nope.
No.
What do I do?
9 was,
Now I divide by 6. Do I divide just one of these by 6 or everything by negative 6?
Everything.
So that cancels out and I have y equals what? Negative over negative is a, reduce it and you get 2/3 x, and then a positive and a negative make a negative. 2 over 6 is 1/3, and we have our slope is 2/3. Lathan, is that you who wanted to go to the bathroom? You can go now. You can take your stuff with you if you want. And guys, I got through questions 1 through 8. 9 through 16 are on YouTube right now. Everything is available to you. Could you just press stop on that?